Oh my god, wow, the moon.
Boo.
There was that one time Mojang added the moon, and I enjoy making horror stuff, so I decided to combine them and make this video, and the intro's over, so time-lapse. So I know I said this is all about being on the moon, but I can't actually do it on the real moon. Well, I can, but I don't wanna, because it doesn't have flashback or axiom, I think. So that would make it harder for me to build and for you to watch. I can't go back to placing blocks by hand. Ew. So I just built my own moon here. And then I smoothed it out and added like hills and dips to make it look more natural. No, you can't see it, I didn't record it. But then I added some weird unnatural stuff, like these random spikes here, a bunch of big trenches, and then right next to those trenches I added some underground rooms. A lot of underground rooms. What's their purpose? I don't know, this is alien stuff, why would I know? I'm not an alien. Yeah, maybe I added a few too many rooms. These are supposed to be kind of like Stonehenge. Thus, this is just a random hole and trench. And I like this one. It's a giant trench with bridges going over it, but one of them's collapsed. I don't know why, I've always just thought things like that were cool. Wow, would you look at that, I'm here on the moon to show you these random useless structures. Obviously, and while I could just do it like this normal skin and everything normal looking, that's boring. So yeah, this is clearly much better. So anyway, well, look at this, just some Stonehenge stuff. It's great that I chose the least interesting one to do first, also a small building. Nothing inside, obviously. And now over here is, wow, would you look at these random spikes? How interesting. I wonder why they're here, because they don't seem very natural. What could have put them here? And why is there one really far away lonely one over there? And a slightly less lonely one over here, but still lonely. How interesting. Oh, by the way, I just want to say these spikes were inspired by the moon spikes from Wallace and Gromit, except mine are unnatural and alien and weird and horrid somehow. Wow, look at this. This looks like a humongous Among Us trench with some naturalish looking bridges that were here to cross. I wonder how that broke. Oh, look, a functional one. That's nice. If I get to use this bridge, wow, how useful, so many interesting things to see over here. Wow, look at these over here, more trenches, how imaginative. Oh no, a decision. I think the thing I built's this way. So I'll go here. Oh no, a decision. I think it's this way. I've just suddenly got the sudden urge to leave the trenches for no reason. Ooh, look, doorways. I wonder what's in here. Ooh, look, some rooms. I wonder what these were used for. How interesting. So glad I added absolutely nothing to these rooms. It really stops this video from being boring. Well, what's this? This is a big room. I wonder why this is here and what's this for. I guess I'll never know though, because I'm not an alien. Oh wow, I rammed myself into that wall so fast. I get to see all the rooms on the outside. Wow, how interesting. This was really worth making a tour. It's not like you saw these before. These shaders really make a difference. Yeah, I'm not sure why I actually did this tour like I would in a normal video, because there's really not much to see that you haven't already. But now, after you've seen all these alien things, it's time for me to build something that's very not alien. Ooh, how interesting. Whee. And now it's time for the main part of the video, because all of that weird moon alien structure stuff was basically nothing compared to this. And just imagine how bad a video with only them and nothing else would have been. I could never, especially after a month. Anyway, I'm just building the outlines for this giant abandoned moon base thingy. It's been quite a while since I built a giant thing in Minecraft like this, and it was even less of a while when I built this, but I'll talk about that later. And it's easily the biggest thing I've ever built in this game. I did a little bit of colour coding with all of those outlines and stuff, but they don't really matter at all. So I'm starting off with this small, well, it's still pretty big, but small compared to the rest of it building. And for this, I did something crazy that I've never done before, but apparently it's good to do, so I did it. I made concept art. No, that's a lie. I made 2 of them. 2 very, very terrible concept arts, but still 2. I only saved this one because the other one looked worse, and it was good doing them, I think, because it made the build easier to visualise without having to go through all the effort of placing blocks. I'm adding texture to those iron walls in that weird squarish way because I want it to make it look like metal plating, and that's usually square, I think, maybe. And I also added a gradient-ish textures to the black bits and grey outlines. And now, wait for it. I'm adding some details and stuff to the other side because, you know, just a few giant blocks on top of each other is very boring. And I just mainly added some random stuff that looks like it could be important, but it's really actually pointless. Like me. And also some windows and wires around the place. Yeah, not much to say really. For the random detail stuff, I just went through the inventory and just scrolled until I came up with an idea after seeing a block. And now that I've pretty much completed the first building, I'll be doing these dome thingies that literally every sort of space base has. I don't know why they're always here, but I guess I'm not helping. Well, but I think they're probably there just because they look cool, don't they? And I tried adding detail to the outside of the dome thingies with those blue warped fences, which looks okay. I added a little bit more later. Oh yeah, I probably should have mentioned this earlier, but that TNT on the domes is to show me where I wanted to smash them, really, because I'm smashing them because I think having giant broken glass domes would be quite cool, and it would definitely fit the theme of this being abandoned and horror, because that's the point of this video, even though it's not scary at all. I tried to put those glass panes in a glass breaky pattern, but I've never broken a giant space dome before, so I had to guess. For this factory, I immediately moved it back a bit because I wanted it to stick out more from the big tall other part it's connected to and not share a wall with it. And yeah, it's the factory, that's why there's those big cyan pillars. They're supposed to be like chimneys, but I didn't really need to point that out though, it was kind of obvious, I think. I don't know why I decided to do this, but I made all those copper outline thingies wavy. You know, I'm glad I did because it looks cool, it's just I've no idea why. I also used Axiom's gradient tool to add a small gradient to the copper and the what's it called, the deep slate of the actual build. And now I'm doing the chimneys, but because I am an idiot, I accidentally finished the recording, and that's why there was a random cut right there. Yes, I could have lined up the cameras with each other, but that's far too much effort. Anyway, now I'm adding that sticky outy bit from the factory for rockets, so stuff from the factory can be loaded onto rockets, because that bit there is going to be a rocket launch pad with a rocket. And I also added some broken-ish looking windows so the wall's not completely flat and boring. And I put that floating tunnel there from the first building to the factory because, well, I just think it looks cool, doesn't it, to have one of those, and the road goes under it to make it even cooler. And right now marks the beginning of pipes. Lots of pipes. Some could say too many pipes, and they'd be right, but actually I think they're wrong, and this is my video anyway, and they are not even a real person, just a figment of my imagination helping me have things to say over this time lapse, because I'm not very good at talking for prolonged periods of time and knowing what to say. I'll probably just speed up the time lapse even more so there's no dead space and you'll have no idea I did it, except I just told you. And now, right after I've gone through the immense effort of writing that into the script, I've realised that it's not even that many pipes right now, and I'd add the rest later. So anyway, now I'm starting that giant main part, which was inspired by the core from Undertale. It'll look more like that later, okay, I swear. Speaking of Undertale, I actually played that for the first time while building this massive moon base, which is one of the reasons that this video took so long to make. Google said that it takes around 7 hours to beat first time, but I am cursed with a severe proficiency deficiency and a need to interact with everything, so it took me 11 hours to beat. And then I did the pacifist ending as well, so that took up even more time where I'm not working on this video. But then after that my friend started a Minecraft realm, so we played on that a lot, which took up even more time, which was great for this video, but now the realm's kinda died. But then after that, I started playing Repo, and that's a fun game, so that also took up even more time, and still does, to be honest, but I won't stop playing. Unless this happens again. But then you'll never guess what happened next. Shock of the century incoming. Even more of my time was used up. But this time by school stuff. So it's not even fun, I don't even have a choice to avoid it this time. I know I've been complaining about all of these, but I've actually had a lot of fun doing all of those things. Except revising, obviously. Oh yay, look, I'm adding more pipes, so now I look less stupid for saying all that pipe stuff earlier. To be honest, I had no idea what to add here, so I just added more pipes. They always look decent enough, so it's fine, I guess. Now, these here that I'm building are supposed to be like water tank thingies, like that toxic waste one from my previous factory build, but better this time, I hope. And to go with the abandoned look, I broke one and made it leak a puddle all over the floor. Then next to them I added, of course, more pipes. You can never go wrong with adding pipes to a factory build. Now here, because this is very slightly inspired by the core, I wanted to make it look like it produced electricity, because it does for the space in the lore. And the best idea I had to show that was just some green radioactive windows, like nuclear power. And now I'm just adding some random stuff around onto it to make it look less plain, like those fans, which I would make spin because I am that good at redstone and I have the skill, obviously, but it's abandoned, so they wouldn't move, which are such a shame. I can't show off my redstone skills. Here I'm adding, then removing those escalator lines onto the base, because that was the best idea I had to make it look less plain, and I removed it all then because it was one block off and that annoyed me, but it was worth it, probably. Here I'm adding that huge vent thingy because airflow or something. It's not like there's a bunch of fans already. Then I added those cooling towers on top, but mine are much smaller than real life ones you'd expect at nuclear places. I just made them smaller because I thought it would look better on top. I don't care if that means they barely function. Oh yeah, I also added another vent there for more airflow because that's really necessary. After all, the moon is known for how much air it has, and now it's time for the rocket because we are in space. But I had a few issues with this rocket, like it being a bit too big and the walkway from the factory being one block off center, so I had to fix it all. Then those windows were off center, so I also had to fix them. And even though I'm building this rocket vertically, it won't be that way in the finished build because, as you can see, it's sort of fallen over, then I pick it back up and made it phase in and out of reality because I'm bad at using Axiom. And I added those details while it's vertical because they'd just be much easier to add then than when it's at a weird angle. Originally it was going to be an even more weirder angle, as you saw, but also as you saw that looked very bad, so it's just toppled one way onto the building. And now I'm adding stuff like debris and cracks around it and dirty looking rocks on the rocket because it is abandoned, so it shouldn't look nice. should it? Also, that pit has been blasted with a very big heat from a very big number of rockets, so it should definitely look like it has, even though I don't know what moon rock looks like when it's burnt. And now I'm just going around breaking some stuff on it and making it look a little bit dirtier, because it is abandoned, surprisingly. I'm not sure if I said that yet. It just did some basic stuff like breaking a few blocks and putting debris down, cracking that display thing, knocking over those tube towers. Yeah, just breaking stuff. Oh, also, by the way, I made concept art for that factory area. Probably should have mentioned that earlier. But it's fine now, better late than never, just like this video. And that road down there that I definitely didn't forget about until right now at the end of this build. It's not a real road though, it's just where the moon vehicles that I'm not bothered to build would have gone on most often, so it's made those tracks on it. And yeah, that's it. I've not got much else to say, I don't think. If I do have anything else to say, I'll say it in the tour, because I can't think of anything now. Wow, look, here I am in the tour. I was gonna use shaders like the last tour, but it looked like this, and it just looks kind of bad, doesn't it? And you can barely see everything, so no shaders, just normal Minecraft. So here it is, finished, but not really. I probably should have gotten rid of these a bit earlier. And yes, I know these builds don't really fit together at all, but I don't care, so it's fine. So there's probably some stuff you missed in the time-lapse, like a lot of this debris and ruining here, like this, and I just broke a bunch of random stuff here. On the underside of this, I added these dirtier looking blocks. Probably should have explained this in the time-lapse, but the reason that this has a gradient like this, well, it's barely a gradient, it's just rectangles of colours, is that it's supposed to kind of look a little bit like a shadow, like light a bit, then underneath the dark bit, then the even darker bit, and dark and lighter, because it gets more light. Except I know nothing about how light works, so it's not good. But now for the actual core, I can barely see the resemblance, to be honest. Oh well. I like this glow effect, and I'm not sure if you can notice, but on the inside I did a little bit of extra texturing, but here there's more darker green, then one less bit here, and then there's only one here, so it's darker on the outside and brighter on the inside. I hope you can see that the domes, that looks like the cracked glass, because that's what it's supposed to be. You know, rockets usually have a big support tower here, but I wasn't bothered to build one, and I also forgot until it wasn't too late, but again, I wasn't bothered. But enough about this video, what about the next one? Because, as you've probably noticed, I only did the exterior, but it also has an interior, which I was gonna do, but you know, time and stuff, so now this video is really late. So if there's enough likes, or just people want to see it, I don't know, I'll do a part 2 where I actually build the interior, and I'll try to make that actually scary, and I'll use shaders for that, because you don't really need to see a giant base while you're inside. So like if you enjoyed, so yeah. Not sure what to say, it's quite a long fall.